back to the Laurence McKenna channel, where Manchester United just beaten Arsenal 3-1 at Old Trafford, and both managers have had a lot of a say in that. I think the tactical battle between these two managers has been up there with some of the best tactical battles that we've seen in the Premier League of recent years, though there were a lot more intricacies that either manager could probably rely on and say, well, I slightly lost out there or slightly lost out there. I'll be going through both teams, but let's talk about Arsenal first, because Arsenal lost out in this one. And I think a lot of people were saying the first big test that Mikel Arteta comes up against, he should be judged for that, and not the simple tactical wins that he seems to be having over other sides, which, of course, build momentum, but also give the team maybe a false sense of the level that they're at. Now, they've certainly gotten closer to the top of the Premier League table in terms of the quality, and I think a lot of people would probably put these two in a similar bracket at the beginning of the season, maybe with Manchester United slightly lower on that at the beginning of the transfer window. But the differences in this game were very much down to what Erik Ten Hag has done with this side, and at the same time, what Arteta has done with this side. Arsenal dominated so much of the possession. They literally got the ball forward to the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Saka, who were in the space, to target the likes of Malacia, but also to put Gabriel Jesus on a defender, try and get the ball, play it off. He played that really, really well. But it led to, despite a lot of good possession and lots of really nice, intricate moments for Arsenal, not enough of a clear-cut opportunity, should we say, for Arsenal. And for all of people who want to put the XG forward and they got themselves into great positions, I think ultimately, if you're playing against a counter-attacking side, you need to not be as naive as Arsenal seem to look today. There was a lot of naivety, as far as I could tell, in the way that Arsenal played, with the extremely high line in the second half, and also with the way they allowed Manchester United to have a little bit too much time on the ball at points. They should have been pressing in the centre of the field. All the things that I wanted to praise about Arsenal, I think, happened today. I just think the end product wasn't there. The person that they needed to put the ball away wasn't doing so. And there were a number of people they wanted to put the ball away. I do think it was a foul just on the Christian Eriksen, and that will make a difference. But it was, both managers were almost trying to work out what the other guy was doing, and then they were asking their players to make slight tweaks and asking their players to do slightly different things to try and take advantage of that. And at one point, and I think this is the point, Mikel Arteta got sucked into a battle with Erik Ten Hag over, we've got dominance in this game, we need to capitalise on this, we need to press up a very high back line. And that's when Erik Ten Hag played this brilliant counter-attacking idea of, we can basically run at their two quite flat-footed centre-backs at that point in the game, who were also strangely similar to the Liverpool game, when Liverpool got pulled out of position. Joe Gomez got pulled to one side and Virgil van Dijk got pulled to the other side. Same happened for Arsenal, where Saliba and Gabriel were quite far apart for quite a few of these goals. They weren't in the right positions. So with those guys being out of position, you've got to wonder whether it's a tactic that Erik Ten Hag tries to bait the opposition into. And the same with the counter-attacking as well. There's little bait traps you can put for the counter-attacking. Arsenal don't need to get sucked into those things. Maybe Arteta thought today there'll be better finishing, there will be more opportunities, and Arsenal will be able to get so far ahead of United, these kind of things wouldn't have really mattered. But the fact is, they got sucked into a punch-for-punch game with Manchester United when they don't really want to do that at Old Trafford. You don't want to do that against an Erik Ten Hag side. Ajax showed it in the Champions League, and they also showed it in the league before, but much more in the Champions League. When you go punch for punch with those guys, very often they come out on top because they've got the tactics, they can spread the play, and they can almost discombobulate and confuse your players to a degree where it becomes very difficult for them to work out what is your tactic and what you're trying to counter. Erik Ten Hag seems very good at doing that so far. And Arteta, you could describe that as naive. You could also describe it as Arteta has been working on a very specific kind of tactic for Arsenal so far, and he's been working on tactical sets of plays. When this certain player is on, this is how we're going to play. When this certain player is on, this is how we're going to play. And that relies a lot on those two centre-backs being in sync, should we say, with whoever's sitting at the base of midfield for Arsenal. Now, in the good games for Arsenal, in the great games, that has been Xhaka and Partey. Xhaka lost his head as soon as the second Manchester United goal went in, and Lokonga isn't Partey. So it's the same criticism and the same details we kind of picked out at the start of the season here. Arsenal look great with that starting 11. There is more depth, but not enough depth within this team. And so you don't quite have the same tactical awareness, the same physical advantages that Partey has, being a taller player, being someone who's obviously played in a more experienced role, and being someone who's more experienced. And therefore, you will get exploited in those positions. And you've got Xhaka on one side, you've got Lokonga on the other, and you will notice where those 2 goals came from. You will notice there was a very high back line, positioning, things didn't go so well. And even when they brought Fabio Vieira on and other players, there was still that element of maybe naivety that Arsenal had in the game. Obviously, you can't make provisions for what's happening off the field at Arsenal right now, but you can make provisions of maybe sitting one of the two a little bit deeper, maybe making sure that Xhaka knows what his role is a little bit more, and maybe not tricking your side or maybe misleading your side into thinking they're on more of a front foot than they are. At the moment, Erik ten Hag, he's not playing possum, but he is still embodying some of those previous qualities, should we say, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side did. The counter-attacking, the use of someone like Rashford and his pace, trying to pull the other team apart. He then mixed that in with the debut for Anthony today, the fantastic debut for Anthony. You could see he was almost trying to do exactly what people pointed out he was doing. It wasn't my tactical analysis. I've been watching lots of other people's brilliant tactical analysis. But basically, they said he will sit out wide and try and pull the opposition defenders out with him, leaving a lot more space in the middle, and therefore leaving a bit more space for, say, whoever you want, Rashford or whoever, Delon, maybe to underlap. Or he'll go a little bit inside, create a 3 in that middle of that Manchester United attacking, and then you go up goes Delon, back goes Anthony, give him a good opportunity, or those 3 go forward and you've got 2 more wing backs. And then on the counter attack, I'll do it this side for you. You saw it was that 1, 2, and 3, and 3 was in on the goal. That is classic Erik ten Hag football. As far as my research tells me, I've not watched Erik ten Hag for a sustained level of time to know that. That's what I have ascertained from what I have done the research on Erik ten Hag and his previous teams. So it is a classic Erik ten Hag goal, but it is also a goal that you might have seen under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in previous years. Maybe a little bit more direct under Ole, but I like to see that there's been a pragmatism here from Erik ten Hag. He's not just come in and, well, he did come in at one point and go, we are playing my way. He's understood he couldn't necessarily do that. He's had to go back to the drawing board and work out some sort of adaptable system where there is a bit of counter-attacking. And they weren't as possession-based as maybe he would want to be today, especially at home at Old Trafford. But what they did was bait Arsenal into that battle that they probably didn't want to be in, get them mentally into that game, and then outplay them. And then they got the mental advantage and the numerical advantage on that end of the pitch. 2 easy through balls, essentially. No one had the pace to keep up with Rashford, or weirdly, Christian Eriksen, who's not known for his rapid pace, and 2 easy goals for Rashford, easy finishes. Liverpool were baited into similar things. The quality big sides who get on the front foot against Manchester United will be baited into similar things until they realise you can't necessarily do that, or there has to be a foul that goes in there. But great advantage for Manchester United, really smart from Erik ten Hag, definitely fit enough for the Premier League. And a few people tonight will be making comparisons between Erik ten Hag's couple of months and Arteta's couple of years. There is clearly progress, and what I guess the feeling I'm left with is not where do Arsenal go from here, but actually the opposite of that. We know exactly where Arsenal go from here. We know exactly what they need to work on. We know exactly why they were left at this deficit in this game. We know exactly where the personnel today weren't able to deal with Manchester United, and we know that was down to youth, naivety probably in the game as well. And as much as you can try and cover for that, it's not like Manchester United haven't and won't do that to other teams this season. So if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be all that disappointed, but I would buckle down and give yourself a couple of days probably off social media, because there's going to be a lot of people making stupid, rash judgments about the state of Mikel Arteta and Arsenal and where they're really at and the amount of investment that has gone on. Don't forget, Manchester United put a huge amount of investment in. Don't forget, Arsenal have also done the same. And there are going to be games where you where you lose out. And, not every game is the Champions League final. Arsenal will be accumulating points. They're still weirdly top of the table despite losing. There are other teams that are losing out this season as well. There seems to be a bit of a tactical progression going on in the league at the moment, meaning a lot more games are wide open. City tactically progressing, Liverpool tactically trying to change and not actually making that work right now, so they don't have the confidence to execute that. Something I also predicted for the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United. Chelsea tactically trying to do things a bit differently. Few players, one faction towards Thomas Tuchel, the other way as well. And then obviously Man City definitely tactically progressing right now and leaving themselves a bit more open at the back, probably leaving themselves a bit too open and losing out because of that. But there is the expectation City will push on. There is the expectation that other teams will push on, but not weirdly, not with Arsenal. And I think Arsenal will push on from here. You could see, by the way, a couple of the idiosyncrasies of an Erik ten Hag side, but also weirdly a couple of the Pepe kind of factors where you saw Zinchenko dropping a bit deep. I didn't think he had a great game today, actually, but I did think There are a few times where you could see he was trying to be more proactive, and I've got to congratulate. I mean, you've got to give some sort of praise to that, because you know how difficult it is to go to Old Trafford, and then when you're down, especially if they're on the front foot and you're down, how difficult it is to get your head up and try and do something. You want to see leaders in the side if you're an Arsenal player. You want to see a shift at least and change towards the right mentality. It doesn't always go bad mentality, good mentality, although, you know, that obviously happens sometimes. Sometimes it can be a bit more of a slow progression. You're looking for the leaders within your side. You're looking for the guys to lead. I think Gabriel Jesus did do that today. I think Zinchenko did do that today. I think Xhaka, despite the fact he had that silly slide at the end, did do that today. I think Saka did show bravery, but he didn't look up enough. So there's a lot of frustrating elements in there for Arsenal where they'll feel that the execution of the ideas that Arteta has is what let them down. And you know, we saw that on All or Nothing on Amazon, where they were basically saying, you know, I can't say I'm not proud of you because I feel like you guys have left it all out there today. The frustration will be when, and I guess there'll be a few people who pick out Zinchenko jogging back after he loses the ball or whatever. But for me, I got the feeling that Arsenal won't be down and out after this. And I also got the feeling that Manchester United capitalised and will do this to other teams this season if they continue in this vein. Antony is an incredibly dangerous player, is someone who enjoyed a lot of space and is looking to exploit that space. And you get a weird mixture of feelings with him. Quaresma meets Nani, meets a bit of Mo Salah with when he first came to the league. Got a point to prove. He came in with this idea of, you think I'm not good enough for this. You think they've spent too much money on me. I'll show you. It was a great first-time finish after a pass from Rashford. Rashford has to get the credit as well today. And, you know, there are a lot of people who wrote him off. We had a conversation on the kickoff last season. A few people said he was no better than being an Everton player. And at that point, he didn't look better than someone who's a mid-table player. But you could see there was a mentality change, there was a tactical change. He's been playing a position he actually wants to play. And look at him now, he's loving it. On the other side of that, I did think there were a couple of points today, not where Manchester United were lucky, but where you can tell they will be riding their luck at points this season and they need to have a word with those players. Martinez, again, aggression, you've always got to congratulate it against the likes of Gabriel and Saka and those guys, because it's going to make them nervous. It will make big players nervous. But at the same time, he dived in 2-footed in the penalty area, almost gave away a penalty. Malacia almost did the same. In a win, you can get away with that. That's fantastic. But the other side of that is that may give away penalties this season. That could be the difference for Manchester United, because it is very fine, I think, the edge that Manchester United win on. Whilst they might have won by a big margin and 3 goals today, I actually think it was a much finer margin than the score gives credit for. And then at the other end, the two centre-backs, that, by the way, Varane was fantastic at getting all over Gabriel. And I think also McTominay today, his aggression, not warranted a red, but it's definitely up there with an orange level of card. And they knew what they were doing, trying to get under Arsenal's skin. That's brilliant work from Erik Ten Hag and great targeting of one player, especially as they know as a leader in that front line, right? Then the other end of that, a lot of people have been speaking about, you know, Saliba, Gabriel, Van Dijk looking over his shoulder at these kind of guys. I think there's going to be quite a few people who get caught out this season by counterattacks, by, you know, this style of play, because football is progressing at the moment. There is overall a progression in football to the adaptability, the positionless play that a lot of people seem to be enjoying in football at the moment, especially when it comes to Erik Ten Hag. And with that adaptability, you'll see a lot more people caught out because they don't necessarily know what their assignment is. They don't necessarily know where the attack is going to come from. And it means a bit more riffing on the ball, a bit more working out what your opposition is actually trying to achieve and trying to cover space. You could see that with Harry Maguire today when he got ran towards by, was it Gabriel? Was it? No, it wasn't Gabriel. It wasn't Gabriel Jesus. Maybe it was Gabriel Jesus. Anyway, he basically had to back off in a similar way to maybe the way you see someone like Van Dijk do. And then he gave away a silly foul. You'll see that a lot more this season, both ways. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought tactically happened in this game, but also mentally what happened. Does this leave Arsenal in a terrible space? Personally, I don't think so. Does it leave Manchester United in an even better space? They are building, and there is confidence building at Old Trafford right now. Can't necessarily say I think this deflates Arsenal, but I think it was their first big test, and a 3-1 loss is a failure. But there are plenty of positives to take. So, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Much love.